everyone, welcome to Project Purdey. Now, you may be wondering, what on earth is Project Purdey? Project Purdey is our channel where we're going to document our build of our rally car, hopefully, to go to Dakar Classic in 2026. Why Purdey? Purdey's the car's name, and she's called Purdey because our patron is Dame Joanna Lumley, and obviously Purdey was one of her famous characters in the New Avengers. So today, for the first video, to welcome you all to the channel, it's going to be a bit of a mishmash of little bits of film that we've taken over the past couple of weeks while we've been getting all the bits and pieces together in the UK and bringing them here to our workshop in France where we're going to build Purdey. Before we get into the film of us collecting all the bits and bringing them home, I want to take you back to a bit of film that we shot, it was probably in July, I think. And when I say we, that's Marcella, my co-driver, and myself. And we shot some film to explain a little bit about what we've done before, who we are, and where we're going to go with this project. We've done several off-road rallies before in the desert with another Land Rover, and I forgot to say that Purdey is going to be a Land Rover 110. So without further ado, I'll show you that and then we'll get into getting all the bits.
So who have we got here with us then?
You go first. Okay, I'm Helen and this is my bestie.
Aww.
I'm Marcella, not just a bestie.
And could you tell us a bit about your history together with the competitions and your first rally?
Oh wow, well we were sitting here actually, weren't we, when we decided to do the first rally, and I needed a co-driver and I'd had 2 glasses of wine. Always gets me in trouble. And so we decided to do it, and we went to Morocco in 2022 and it was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was amazing. It was probably one of my proudest moments. It was a life-changing experience really for me. I learned a lot about myself and about us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you're out in the desert, in literally the middle of nowhere, and it's just, we have to sort it out ourselves, don't we? Whatever happens.
Yeah, and we were determined to.
Yeah.
It was good. What people don't realise is when we go on the rally, I mean, you've got loads of experience, I haven't. My own experience was going with you, but I was blown away by Helen's driving ability. You know, when on all terrains, and you don't realise that until you're in the car in these places where most people couldn't drive on sand. We've been driving up sand dunes like that, holding on the top and then dropping down the other side and racing in those conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real skill that I think everybody thinks, well, I can drive. Not like Helen.
Yeah, but my favourite bit of film actually from last year, it was, you can't see us, but it was taken in the car and we're going through the dunes and you go, yes, Helen, this is
it was, I love it.
It's really great, isn't it? When you get in the rhythm and you're going up and down and it's like surfing the dunes and it's such good fun.
What's making you both want to take on the Dakar Classic?
Not me. I do now.
But I
I don't know, Dakar's always kind of been in the back of my head, and I think one of my first real memories of knowing a lot about off-road rallying was, oh gosh, years ago when I was like that high, and Margaret Thatcher's son, Mark, got lost on the Dakar, and that's my first memory of knowing what Dakar was. And then, like, as time went on through the 80s and all the 9/11s and everything started going on Dakar, and you watch all these cars going through the sand, and it's just like, wow. And then we've kind of almost done that.
Yeah.
And the beginning of this year, the first British team, which is obviously blokes, went into the Dakar Classic, and I had the opportunity of actually meeting and talking to that team, and they brought the car here, so I had a look at it, and Andrew said, so now the women have to go and do it, and I was like, well, you know, only live once, don't you?
And on that note, am I right in thinking you're the first British female team?
If we pull it off, yeah, we will be, which is pretty
It's
awesome.
ahead,
Yeah.
it's going round.
I know.
And then when you contacted me about this, it was like, it's got to be us, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We are a good, strong team together, and why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? I think that's one of the main things that certainly I learned from last year is that whatever happens, we get through it together.
Yeah.
And we might have a bit of a wobble and some tears and all the rest of it, and we write our little pros and cons.
Yeah.
And then we go, yeah, no, we're here, we're going to go and do it anyway. So
it's easy to say, I'm going to do the Dakar Classic, but how difficult do you think it'll be to actually achieve what you want to achieve there?
I think the first difficulty is getting everything in place. So that's a massive hill to climb, and once we always say the first victory is actually getting to the start line. So we've got a lot of money to raise, and we've got a new car to build, and after that it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, we can do the driving bit. We just got to get there.
Yeah.
But it is the rallies that I've done with you, this is 4 times longer, is that? Distance-wise,
Yeah.
so it's going to be
long days.
long days, but we know we can do that. But it is getting to the start line, and that's where we need some help where we can get it.
So I know that in the past your cars have had names.
Yeah, all of our cars have names.
And I heard you say that you're going to be building a new one.
Yeah.
Will this one have a name?
Absolutely, and actually Marcella picked the name.
She's going to be called, she is called Purdey.
Yeah.
And she's a new Avenger.
We're very lucky that we have Joanna Lumley as our godmother patron for our adventure, which is pretty cool.
Amazing.
Okay, initially we have to build Purdey. Purdey is an actual car at the moment, but she's not in the best condition. She's quite old, and the reason for that is that we picked a car that on the Dakar Classic, the regularity speed that you have to respect depends on the age of the car. So an older car gives us a more easily achievable. I think we've kind of got a sense from what we've done before of what we can achieve. So a Defender is never going to be a speed machine. So we've picked an older car, and now she needs to be completely rebuilt. So to start our Dakar journey, we bought Donor Car in North Wales. She's a 1988 110. She needs a lot of work. She didn't have an engine with her when we bought her. She's full of rust, but we want to salvage as much of Purdey as we possibly can to keep her authentic. And there's lots of good bits that we can keep. We also bought an engine. It's a newer engine than what she would have had originally, but that's in line with the rules of Dakar Classic, so that's fine. And obviously we've got to build that in. We realised that we needed a new chassis because Purdey's chassis is rotten. So at the Land Rover owner show at Belvoir Castle in the UK at the beginning of September, we met up with not only safety devices who'll be building the roll cage and Empire tuning, but also we met Purdey's chassis for the first time on the Marsland chassis stand. And as you can see, it's bright red so that nobody will miss it. After the Land Rover show, the donor car went off to be stripped down so that we could find out exactly what parts we needed to replace. And then at the beginning of October, once those parts were ready to be used and we'd found replacements for the other parts, plus lots of new bits and pieces, things that you would replace anyway, brake discs, suspension parts, things like that. We travelled to the UK to collect everything, pack everything, load it onto the trailer. Now we had 2 locations to collect from, one location in Essex where some parts were stored and another location in Sussex. So a bit of logistics involved to get everything loaded up and safely on the trailer ready for the long journey to France. We've tried really hard where we can to scavenge authentic, original Land Rover parts, second-hand obviously, to build Purdey from, to replace the bits of the donor car that we weren't able to save. So a big thanks to all the people who have provided those parts, and that ranges from the doors that you can see here, right through to wiring harnesses, to the bulkhead, to the rear tub itself. So lots of reusing and recycling to make sure that this build is really in the true kind of Land Rover enthusiast style and also quite eco-friendly. Thanks Bob for the doors. Bits of you get to live again and go to Dakar. With everything loaded, we set off for the ferry and eventually, after an overnight crossing, arrived back home.
Welcome home. How was your trip?
Oh, long. I'm tired. But it's good. We got about, I reckon, 70% of the stuff that we need to build Purdey, so it's cool. Come and have a look.
Take over the video.
The next stage is obviously unpacking, and there was quite a lot of stuff to unpack, although it was, to be fair, quicker in the main than loading it up. And we're very thankful to Jenny, who's my second co-driver, for staying at the house to look after the cats while we're away and also to help us with a great deal of the unpacking. So this is a bit seized, isn't it? What's
Your
happened
hinge
there?
pins on your flaps are seized.
Would that be for lack of lube?
You definitely need much more lube.
Oh, you know what they say, don't you?
Yeah,
When you need lube, you put on as much as you think and then
add a bit more.
add a bit more. You can never have too much lube, but that's definitely, yeah, my flaps are definitely seized, aren't they? But I'm sure we can fix that because we've got to have our flaps, very important. Get good ventilation through your flaps. Chris, what are we doing?
We're going to make a disaster area.
Well, hopefully it won't be a disaster. What are we supposed to be doing?
Well, we're going to try and lift each other.
Okay. Oh, there she goes. It's off. This operation is using lots of Land Rovers, so it's a good job we've got several. So we have a winch rope off Lulu onto the tub and the winch rope off Delilah, which is going to drag the trailer forward when we've got the tub lifted, hopefully. Cross your fingers, guys.
Next, we had to devise a method for getting the chassis off, and that was definitely going to involve an engine crane.
We're going along, really. We'll get it all in position and then video.
Yeah. So what we're trying to achieve, is get the chassis off the trailer into the workspace without the use of a forklift, which we don't have. So just using ingenuity, see how that goes. Okay, so just to sort of explain what we're doing here, we've got the engine crane at this end attached to what is the front of the chassis. So we've got a sack barrow underneath this cross member on the chassis. So it's just lifting it off and we can run it on the wheels. And then back here, as I showed you before, we've got the engine crane that will take this end. And the theory is that it all moves. So let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. Not quite sure how we're going to get it off, but okay, let's see. So this is the point when we realise that what we should have done was put the trailer ramps down first, and then we could have just rolled the whole thing off. But of course we didn't do that. So now we've got to try and get the ramps out to roll the chassis off. Okay, the ramps are now in place. So now we're going to try and drag the chassis in.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Okay. My sort of guide on this.
Here at the back. Lower it down a bit more. Stop. Good. That's clear now. Go and pull the wheel forward. Just drag it a foot forward. Yeah.
chassis is in the workshop. So we've dragged the engine to the back of the trailer and unwrapped it, and now the idea is that we're going to lift it off with the engine crane, hopefully, and then it will just have to sit there until the other trailer is empty and we can put it in there to move it around. So that's the plan. So the trailer's empty apart from this cat. Anybody want a cat? You may have noticed that today I'm wearing an Ali Sport sweatshirt, and you may be wondering why, and that's a perfectly reasonable question. In January 2024, Andrew from Ali Sport with his co-driver Gavin went to do the Dakar Classic, and on his way back from collecting the car from the port at Barcelona after Dakar, he stopped off here. And so I had the great privilege of being able to talk to Andrew and look over the car and get loads of great information and ideas from him about our project. And Andrew kind of laid the gauntlet down for us to say he was the first British team to go to Dakar Classic, and now the women should give it a go. So this is a big thank you to Andrew for the inspiration and also for all the help that he's given us so far, which is absolutely invaluable as we start our own Dakar Classic journey. And we'll see you to start the build for the car for Dakar Classic in episode 2. But in the meantime, be sure to like and subscribe below so that you get the notifications as soon as a new video comes up. See you soon.